up, guys? Back in the garage, getting ready to dive back into the car. Got the fittings for the power steering I was waiting on, so we're going to be wrapping that up 100%. Got some big news with people we're partnership with, which super ecstatic about. I can't even believe that, you know, these companies want to work with me. But it's going to be NerpTech, teamed up with them. We're going to be running their rear lower control arms, their rear offset bushings for the trailing arms, bunch more stuff. Great Blue Research, which is helping us a ton this year. Super excited to work with them. BC still, of course, which I went over in the last video, but we're going to be running some new stuff from them, which should change, you know, how the car feels and put a bunch more grip to it. Canton Racing, we'll be probably doing an accumulator setup on there. If not, we're going to be running one of their coolant reservoirs, stuff like that. Big Duck Club is another one. We'll be running their over fenders, maybe a couple other little pieces for them, which I can't wait to see how the car looks with the new wheels and their over fenders and all that. Heard they're super durable, which we'll be putting that to the test for sure, because we're not easy on anything. MGB Tire, of course, always help me find parts quick, hook me up with, you know, they order all my tires, so huge help having them involved with the program. Northwest Lawn and Landscaping, they'll be helping us out throughout the season again. But yeah, super excited to be teamed up with all these companies and, you know, ready to hopefully make something happen this year. Alright, so I'm going to start pulling apart the rear end. I'm going to drop the diff out, pull the axles out, and get ready to drop, you know, basically everything but the subframe. Yeah, let's get to work. This is why we check bolts. Front diff bolt was loose.
Oh shit. Rear end?
Yep, bolt.
Rear end, yeah.
That's why you always do a bolt check.
Oh shit, that part was coming loose?
Yep.
I was shocked at a
Hey!
Right? Cardi B makes music for women who watch paper plates. Prove me wrong.
Said a non-M axle starting to fucking break. Hopefully I won't be dealing with this after this. Lasted quite a while, but
you know,
definitely can't wait to upgrade them. Alright, so I got the diff out, both axles out, both lower control arms out. I got the brakes disconnected on this side, which I got the 3 bolts left on the pocket to have that trailing arm out. Then I'm gonna hop and start pulling everything out on this side. But just a little update. So I had found both axles in here were about to break. The front diff bolt was coming loose, which that's exactly why we do a bolt check every round, or every event I should say. Use an upgraded Turner bolt, or upgraded bolt from Turner. It's supposed to be hardened, because I've had issues of every bolt I put in there I either bend or break. But yeah, so the Turner bolt, I mean, it held up. It's not bent or anything, but a little rundown of what I use to not break those bolts. So I use a solid aluminum front bushing, which my dad made up on the lathe. Solid aluminum in the front. I use Delrin on the ears from Condor Speed Shop. Just keep a little bit of flex in the cover. You know, I don't want to put solid to both of them, because you know, I've seen guys break the ears off and stuff like that. So keep a little bit of play in it. I run solid subframe bushings. Obviously reinforce the floors with the plates. So I checked all that stuff out. Everything looks good on that end. So huge relief that I don't have any subframe issues, or you know, anything pulling out of the body or anything. So that's good. So yeah, we're gonna keep going with these trailing arms, get everything ripped out. I also plated the trailing arm pockets, which I highly recommend, because I had an issue I found in the beginning of last season where I was actually ripping these threads out of the body. So I hit those back in, welded them up nice, got some reinforcement plates, welded those in, and yeah, just looking at it now, everything looks good. Nothing's pulling out, staying where it's supposed to be. So highly recommend plating the trailing arm pockets, plating the subframe, because it is known to rip out, and definitely don't want that to happen, because that is a horrible repair to have to deal with. So these are the upper spring perches, or upper control arms. I'm going to be upgrading this to a 12K rear spring. This one's 10 right now, but since I moved the fuel cell and stuff in the trunk, it's got a little bit too much squat, which I will show you. So that rub right there, that was from the axle boot. That just shows how much this car actually squats. So I'm going to stiffen that up a little bit. Run a bigger tire. I might play around with losing the sway bar. You know, it's going to be a lot of test and tune stuff. See if I could find the most grip I can get out of the car that the parts I'm running could handle. But yeah, let's get on to the other side and start tearing the rest of the stuff apart. And what I'm doing is I'm jacking up the trailing arm a little bit to compress the spring, seeing as the rear springs you gotta have 3/8 of an inch of preload to put them in properly. So I'm basically bringing up the preload, so when I take out the shock bolt, it's neutral and not gonna, you know, drop or be hard to get that bolt out. Now I'll be able to take the bolt out nice and easy. What I'll do is I'll lower this, take the preload off, I'll be able to get the spring out, pop this upper arm off, hang the calipers up so they're not, I'm going to hang them up with a bungee so they're not just hanging by the lines, because that is a huge pet peeve of mine. Never hang a brake caliper by their hose. Never do it. Tie them up. Super simple, quick to do. Never should have a caliper hanging by the hose. Can't stand when people do that. Message. That went way easier than expected. So this pin goes through here and holds this onto the cable. Usually these suck to come out, but I literally just pushed on it and it popped out, so I am not going to complain at all. And I got people blowing my phone up right now. Don't they know people are trying to get some work done? Changing these bushings. I got some power flex stuff that's going to go in, so I got to press out these old rubber bushings and then put the new poly ones in. So I'm going to try to do it how I did the ball joints in the trailing. I'm going to use 2 sockets and pull it out with a bolt. So hopefully that'll work decent for me. See how it is. Oh. God damn it. That's not what I wanted to do. Yikes. I'll replace it with the poly ones and fight with the next one. Alright, so what I'm doing now is, since I had that last bolt snap and blow apart on me, I'm going to drill the bushing out to take a bigger bolt. It's going to take a 1/2 inch bolt, so now I won't snap this bolt and this one out. And since this bushing is junk anyways, I'm just going to drill it out so I can fit the bigger bolt. And hopefully not have the bolt snap on me. Now I'll be able to fit the 1/2 inch bolt through it. This one's being a pain in the ass, so I'm going to add some heat to it and then see if I can get it to move. Oh, there it goes. That sucked so bad. That was horrible. This one was in there really good, rusted up, had to add heat. It sucked. So I'm gonna let this cool down since I had a bunch of heat to it. I want to put my poly bushings in and they'll start melting, so I'll let this cool down. Alright, so now that we got our factory bushing out, I'm going to be putting this poly bushing in, which is 2 pieces, and then a steel sleeve. And since these bushings are offset, there's 2 different size ends to it. You want to make sure the bigger end is towards the rear of the car. So since this is passenger, this bigger one's going to go on this side. The little one's going to go up front. So we're going to push these in, and then put the sleeve in after. You put a little bit of grease on it, and the sleeve will slide right in. So let's get these pushed in, and then we'll get to the sleeve. Put a little bit of grease on it so it slides in nice. And that'll do it. Now we got the poly bushings installed in both of the upper control arms. These will be good for now. We'll set these aside. That way, once we get our trailing arm and everything in, these are already ready to go. Alright, so that's a wrap for this one. We got a ton of work done. Whole rear of the car ripped apart. Got the new bushings in the upper control arms. Everything prepped, ready to go. As soon as we get the rest of the parts of the trailing arms, those will go right in. Yeah, happy with the progress, and thank you for watching. Catch you at the next one.